Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Awthentik and The Beard. This is the Parlay. This is the best television show not on television. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the first week of fantasy football playoffs, and it is going to be an insane week. Starting yesterday is going to be a stretch of 8 days of football in the next 10 days. So Jonathan Taylor kicked off that stretch with an MVP-like performance, and it is time to really dig into fantasy football, DFS, and NFL betting. And I'm going to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Awthentik. Welcome, sir.
Yo, what's good, bro? How you living?
Man, just that game last night was pretty interesting. Colts might be a little bit of a strong team to deal with in the playoffs
I
playoff
think
time.
people already knew that.
It.
I think where people might have messed up, though, is overvaluing the Patriots, thinking like this was more of like a Tom Brady kind of Patriots team, when we know this is a solid team. But this isn't like no front runner for the AFC, even though the record said so just a couple of weeks ago. But Colts are real deal, man. They rely on the run. That's going to work for them in the playoffs for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, that Jonathan Taylor play at the end was just, that was Derrick Henry-esque, really. And I mean, Carson Wentz was a little bit off. And Michael Pittman getting ejected, that was a pretty crazy play. I didn't really see how he should have got ejected, but it is what it is. And moving forward, obviously COVID has hit the league pretty hard. We got a lot of games that have been moved. It's going to be an interesting, next couple of days, obviously, with games today, games Monday, games Tuesday. You get Wednesday off, and then Thursday you got back to football, and then Saturday more games, Sunday more games, Monday more games. So, yeah, it's a lot of football this next, 8 to 10 days. It's going to be fairly interesting. I'm definitely super excited about it. A little stressed out, though, because obviously this is fantasy football playoffs, and there's a lot of these COVID list things and then injuries. Lamar Jackson is probably not going to play today, who is our starting quarterback on our team, which is in our first round of the playoffs. But lucky for us, we do have Kirk Cousins. On my other league, I'm not so lucky. I have Lamar Jackson. I had to pick up Jimmy Garoppolo.
Is Kirk Cousins playing a primetime game this week?
He is. We semi-discussed that.
That might be a little sketchy. That might be a little sketchy. We're gonna see.
The only positive thing is that it is against the Bears, so that gives us a little bit of hope, right? So let's go ahead and say some shout outs to the lovely people in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's watching us right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up while you guys are here. It definitely helps get out to the YouTube universe. And we got to give a big shout out to, I'm going to let you take a wild guess. Who do you think was first in the building today?
Waterfly?
What's going on, Jameson? Good to see you,
What's
sir.
up, yo?
Hope you're doing well. Shout out Cernox Connection, says he is folding T-shirts, waiting for football. Man, we've been cranking out some T-shirts lately. Shout out Cernox Connection. Appreciate you, brother. My favorite GQ name on YouTube, Mr. Edward Squires, says hello, fellas, and
What's up,
all. Appreciate you. And my man, Lax044. What's going on, Lax?
Good
to
bro.
see you,
What's
sir.
Good?
Mac, the Giants fan. What's going on, Mac?
What's up,
Good
man?
to see you, sir. Giants Cowboys today.
Should be a fun one.
Interesting one. Big shout out to the homie Lucas throwing up the AATB.
Yes, sir.
Lucas, I was just talking to Awthentik about that this morning. So we're gonna definitely look over your data. Maybe we can put together a nice little segment or show or video based upon all that information. I can't thank you enough, because I saw it and I was like, man, this is like, I felt like I was doing my taxes for a second, the way that spreadsheet was
You gotta forward me that over. I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, like, he did a fantastic job on it. So shout out to Lucas checking in from Australia. We appreciate you, sir. Let's see who else we got in the building. Ali Akbar. Says, I can't make my fantasy pick for FanDuel until this show is over.
That's what's up, bro.
Make sure you reserve your seat in the contest without setting your lineup. That way, you got your spot in the contest, and then you can just fill in the lineup as we finish. Don't forget, if anybody has any questions regarding your season-long fantasy football, anything FanDuel, DraftKings, you drop that in the chat. We are here to help you guys build those lineups. Big shout out to James Funk, who always holds us down for the parlay on Facebook. It's a great show, guys. Pick 2, Amari Cooper, Devontae Parker, Marquise Brown, Michael Gallup, and Zach Ertz. Ooh, that's tough.
Pick 2, man, I really like Michael Gallup coming off that big game last week. Amari Cooper's been consistent. It just depends if he gets the targets. This is difficult. Parker had 5 targets last week, caught all 5 targets.
No Waddle.
I'm going to go Ertz and Cooper. It's about to be playoff time. I'm going Ertz and Cooper.
I'm very close to going with Ertz and Cooper also. But no Jalen Waddle. Miami against the Jets. I love that spot for Devontae Parker. I'm going to go Devontae Parker and Zach Ertz. But I think if you're obviously, there's no bad going with Amari Cooper either. I mean, that matchup is going to be probably fairly good, although I do like CeeDee Lamb to get the bulk of the looks against that Giants defense. But you can't go wrong with Amari Cooper either. But keep your eye on Devontae Parker. He's a guy this week, I think. Big shout out to the Formula Fitness in the building, throwing up the biceps. We appreciate it. Kevin Cronin says, hi.
Hello, Kevin. Hello,
Thank you
Kevin.
for joining us.
Kevin! Home Alone 2 vibes.
He said, also, do I start Stafford or Hertz? So Hertz was probably looking like he wasn't going to play according to our sources. But with that game being moved to Tuesday, he's probably in line to play.
I got an update from the source, too, that said he's definitely going to be in line to play.
Yeah.
Like.
So that's a very tough one because fantasy-wise, Jalen Hurts always gives you those on-the-ground numbers. But Stafford has been just straight flying lately. But that is a divisional game against the Seahawks. I don't know.
Seahawks defense is not great, too, against the pass. And Stafford's on a 2-game tear here. Like, man, the playoffs in the way here. I'm going Matthew Stafford, I think, because he's on a team. And I told the Beard this about a couple weeks back. Players on the better teams seem to be the better option. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, I told the Beard this on Thursday. They don't look like a playoff team to me. And neither does Washington. That game might get a little sloppy. We'll see how it goes. But I think Stafford is going to be striding into the playoffs, especially on the backs of Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham.
Yeah, I think we're going to both agree here. We're going to go with Matthew Stafford. Big shout out to Marjorie Simmons, always holding us down in the chat. We appreciate all of your information that you provide for us during this show and every
Big
show.
facts.
Shout out to
Big
Marjorie.
facts. Shout out Marjorie.
Perry Max in the building. Logix is in the building. We appreciate you guys. And
What's
Lax
up, man?
Fo with the $4.99 super chat. Darnell Mooney, Chase Edmonds, or Craig Reynolds, I can play too. I mean, Chase Edmonds and Darnell Mooney, I just feel like are more solidified than Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds is a sneaky play maybe in DFS, but as far as season long, I think I'm going to go Mooney and Edmonds.
Yeah, I got to go with you on that too. James Conner turning up the way he has been as of late is going to get in the way of Chase Edmonds a little bit. But I just think it's the more proven play. So I'd go Chase Edmonds, Darnell Mooney too.
Yeah, and keep your eye out, too, on that Connor Edmonds situation because Edmonds is coming off the IR, and Connor's a little banged up. He was questionable for a good portion of this week with an ankle injury, so it'll be interesting. Chase Edmonds will get you the catches, which is great in PPR. James Conner is a touchdown hawk. That dude he's up there, top 3, I think, in the league in touchdowns, so definitely very interesting. Shout out to Hustle and Motivate. What's going on? Appreciate
Fire
you
name.
stopping by. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to rock and roll. Don't forget, if you have any questions, let us know in the chat. The first game we're going to jump into is a game that has been moved. It is the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 6-7. They are headed to Cleveland to face the Browns, who are 7-6. A lot of COVID issues in Cleveland. The Browns are currently 3-point favorites. The over-under is 40.5. Kickoff for this game is an interesting Monday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
Well, talked about this statistic last week. Derek Carr, the Raiders are 6-0 when Derek Carr throws for over 300 yards. They're 0-7 now when he doesn't. I'm looking for Derek Carr to come here and step up against the Browns at Cleveland, and Hunter Renfro's probably going to be the number one target for him over there. He caught 13 of 14 targets last week, so Hunter Renfro's definitely on a tear. Jarvis Landry, I know he's iffy in this game, but you got Nick Mullins, I believe, getting the start here, quarterback. Is that what I'm hearing? With Case Keenum out?
If neither one of the quarterbacks clear protocol by Monday, but there is a chance, obviously, that Case Keenum and or Baker Mayfield both clear protocol by Monday. So there's hope, obviously.
Yeah, and even with that, I think Jarvis Landry has had not a down year, but a pretty average year. So I don't know if you want to plug him into your lineups. He did have 14 fantasy points in PPR last week, and the week before that. But outside of those, he's only had one game over 14 points. So, Jarvis Landry going into the playoffs here in fantasy might be a tough start. As far as the game goes, it really depends on who's at quarterback for the Browns, because if you're going to have Nick Mullins at quarterback, I'm definitely going with the Raiders. But I think the Raiders need a win here. They've lost some tough games in the past couple of weeks here. I'm going to go for the Raiders in this one. The Browns are favored, right? Or are the Browns not favored?
By 3 points.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders outright in this, and I'll take that over 40.5.
So obviously we got to worry about COVID situations here. It's super difficult to pick this game. I think it's a smart move by the National Football League to have moved these games. It just makes sense to me. I know a lot of people are upset whose teams are not affected by COVID but are now affected by this schedule change. But it just made sense to me. Now, the Cleveland Browns are going to be without two of their, nice offensive linemen, and that's going to be Wyatt Teller and Jedrick Wills are both out. So I don't know how that's going to fare for Nick Chubb, especially in a situation where if Nick Mullins is a starting quarterback and they're going to be relying on Nick Chubb heavily, that could affect the running game. I mean, we talked about Hunter Renfrow. He's probably been the most consistent fantasy player for the Oakland Raiders this season. He's got 30 catches in his last 3 games. That's just, that's consistency. And you love to see consistency in fantasy football. The Las Vegas Raiders just can't turn the ball over. The turnovers are killing them. In their first 7 games, they were 5-2. They only had 5 turnovers. And at that point was second in the league. Since then, they've gone 1-5 with 12 turnovers in those 6 games. So if they can find a way to not turn the ball over, then they definitely can win this game, especially considering the injury situation for the Cleveland Browns. I think this is going to be a close game. Obviously, if Baker Mayfield plays and Jarvis Landry plays, I like the Browns to win. If it's Nick Mullins, you have to take the Raiders. So obviously it's going to change depending upon who's playing quarterback. But if I had to make a choice today, I think I would also take the Raiders. That 40.5 though, I mean, the Raiders kind of score points. I'll take the over on the 40.5. I think we can get there for sure. So it's going to be an interesting game. We'll have to monitor that closely as we get closer to Monday. Big shout out to Tuto for the $4.99 super chat. Says, salute to you, Awthentik. Drop by your office to pay our proper respects. And for Giants Nations, we slap all slimy, stinky Eagles fans. Lehu the hers out doors. Shout out Tudo. Appreciate you stopping by.
Big shout out Tudo. Hope we slap them Cowboys today. We'll see.
Up next is going to be another interesting AFC game. It's going to be the Tennessee Titans, who are 9-4. Sounds crazy the way that they've been playing lately. They are headed to Pittsburgh, who is 6-1. The Steelers are actually 1-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 43.5 points. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pittsburgh, they're going to have to control this game early because they have been struggling getting behind in these games. They have been down 17 points 3 times in the last 4 weeks. it's super difficult in the NFL. Obviously, we see this a lot with teams that we follow closely, especially for like Washington, just one of those teams, the Saints we talk about a lot too, teams that just can't get behind early. So that's definitely going to be important for them. Tennessee Titans have had 50 different players start a game this year, which is just absolutely insane. They are just so many injuries. They've played 86 players, which is an NFL record. So it's talk about next man up. They're 9-4 through all of that, which is super interesting. TJ Watt is going to be the key to this game for me for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, when TJ Watt is on the field and he plays a complete game, they're 6-2. When he's limited or misses a quarter due to an injury or out completely, they are 0-4-1. So they're going to have to, rely on TJ Watt to carry this team defensively. Offensively, last week I talked about Deonta Foreman. He did score a touchdown. He's going to be the guy, I feel like, just around the goal line. If you're looking for anybody else, Julio Jones is going to need to step up. He had an okay game last week. As far as the Steelers go, I'd be interested to see how they use Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth. They got some good young players over there, but I think they're going to have to rely on Najee to, kind of pace this game against the Tennessee Titans. I actually do like the Steelers in this game. I'm going to take the Steelers. The over-under at 43.5. I'm going to take the under.
Got you. Talked about Pat Freiermuth, who was literally inches away from tying that game up last week, and you said that the Steelers have been down 17 points in their last 3 games. It's crazy because in their last 4 games, they're 2-2, which is kind of surprising with the way that they've been playing ball. Definitely getting down early. I posted a clip on my Twitter, Mike Tomlin trying to hype the team up against the Vikings when they were down by like 20-some-odd points or whatever, man, and they did battle back in that game. Freiermuth does have 6 touchdown catches in 7 weeks since the team's bye, but he hasn't hit over 50 yards in any one of these games since the bye. But he's definitely been the red zone target that they expected him to be early on in the year. You talked about TJ Watt. TJ Watt has an NFL best and career best 16 sacks on the season. He joins Reggie White as the only players with 13 sacks in 4 straight seasons. That is a feat right there, man. That dude is definitely balling out. And you talked about Deonta Foreman and the rest of this running committee for the Titans. The Steelers' run defense, and this is probably one of the most surprising stats I read all morning. They are allowing a league-high 5 yards per carry on the ground right now. It is the worst in the NFL. So I'd look for the Titans to run the ball, but I got to go with the Steelers in this game simply off the fact that they got a veteran at the quarterback position who, I think Ben Roethlisberger might be being looked at a little bit too under the microscope this year. If you look at last year's numbers, he had 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 3,800 yards. And this year, he's not too far off of that. He's approaching 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, has 3,066 yards, 65.3% completion percentage. So, I know a lot of people think Ben Roethlisberger's kind of falling off the cliff a bit here, but I think a lot of it has to do with not having his wide receiver core healthy all year long. You know about Juju Smith-Schuster. Johnson has been dealing with an injury every now and again on this team as well. So I don't know. A lot of people don't think Ben Roethlisberger might not be back next year, but I think his play doesn't deserve to have him out the league right now. There are plenty of quarterbacks playing a lot worse than Ben Roethlisberger is in better situations as well. But I definitely got to go with the Steelers in this one. The Titans just aren't the same team without Derrick Henry. I know they're trying to make a serviceable committee running back situation work here, but it's not really going to be a formula to get them deep into the playoffs. I think they're going to fall off a little bit here, and I think it's probably going to start with this game right here. So I'm taking the Steelers, and I'm going to take the over in this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for these Titans moving into the playoffs for sure. Big shout out to the homie Nick the Wick for the $4.99 super chat. Says checking in from MetLife, praying for a miracle. Have a great show. Hey, buddy, tell them to put Awthentik and The Beard up on the Megatron pregame. That'd be great. Thanks. Appreciate
unless you want all the Giants fans to dip. Shout out NTW one time in the building.
Enjoy the game, my friend. Enjoy the game. And James Funk says, last one, I promise. Don't worry, brother. This is what we're here for. Pat Freiermuth or Mike Gesicki for my tight end. man, talk about some crazy last names to say back to back. I'm gonna go with Gesicki because listen, Waddle out. I think Waddle is such a key component to that Dolphins offense that when he's not there, the targets are going to have to go somewhere. I love Gesicki and I love Parker in that game. So I'm going to go Gesicki. I think he's more of a volume guy than Freiermuth. Freiermuth will probably get you a touchdown, but he's not going to get you the 10 catches, the 8 catches. You know, that's a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah, I got to go with Freiermuth on this one. Just looking at some Gesicki numbers here, had the pretty decent game against the Giants December 5th here, which was just last week. 7 receptions for 46 yards, but outside of that, he's had 3 catches, 5 catches, 0 catches, 4 catches, 3 catches. That dates all the way back to October 24th. He don't have a touchdown in that whole stretch, and he's only breached 50 yards one time. I'm going with Freiermuth. I just talked about the number here. 6 touchdowns in the last 7 weeks since the team's bye. So I'm definitely going Freiermuth here. Look for him to bounce back too and have a big game after, I don't know if you could really call that a drop against the Vikings last week.
Play. Yeah,
just a tough catch and a good play by the defender. I forget that defensive back who was on in coverage there, but it was just a great punch to get the ball out. I got to go Freiermuth on this one. Yeah, it was Harrison Smith. Yep.
Yeah. So, great points. And that's the best part about the parlay is a lot of times one of us might say something and it really kind of makes you rethink things a little bit. Like I always tell Awthentik when we finish here, I feel like I have to go change 6 of my lineups after here.
Yeah, it could get crazy for the person who's split on the decision, though, for sure. You better make the right call on that one.
Big shout out to James Jones, always checking us out during the parlay. He says Saquon, DK, or Van Jefferson. I like Van Jefferson. I mean, that might sound crazy, but I like Van Jefferson, man. He's found a role in this offense, and I feel like this offense with Kupp, Beckham, and Van Jefferson is starting to kind of get that mold that you were seeing with Robert Woods when he was there. So I just like the progression that they have made offensively. I love Saquon, obviously, but I don't know. This matchup kind of worries me a little bit. And then DK, I mean, he's just had an off year. That offense in general has just been off. And against that Rams defense, and Jalen Ramsey just came back off the COVID list. He's cleared to play. So I'm going to have to go Van Jefferson.
Yeah, I like Van Jefferson and maybe Saquon as a close second. Saquon just really hasn't put it together all year long. He had his best game last week, so, I mean, I guess that's something to look forward to. And Saquon has had 4 games against the Cowboys in his career, and 2 of them went really good, 2 of them went really bad. And the way that the Giants have been playing this year behind this offensive line and the quarterback situation, it's going to be really tough for Saquon Barkley. You don't got a guy out there, a veteran like I was talking about with Ben Roethlisberger, who can really put you in the right situation to make the right plays with the pre-snap reads. You got Mike Glennon going out here to play quarterback, and we might see a little bit of Jake Fromm late in this game. We don't know. So I'm going Van Jefferson on this one. He's proven back-to-back weeks with the big play and a touchdown, looking like he can have a place in this offense. When the signing of Odell Beckham came through, a lot of people thought that wasn't the case, but it does seem like Van Jefferson has a spot in this passing game. So I'm going Van Jefferson 1,000% on this one.
Big shout out to Anthony, the Bluegrass Picker, for the $5 super chat. Says Chiefs.
Big win.
Big win for you guys.
You remember I said that was a playoff preview, and that game will show you what the Chargers are really about. And more, it showed you what the Chiefs are really about. They're still that team, man. Everybody was kind of losing their faith in the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are definitely probably that's a beardism right there. Definitely probably one of the best teams in the playoffs right now.
Look, I was split 50-50 on the way that Chargers whole thing went down. There was a few things you have Austin Eckler. I love Joshua Kelly to death, but you got to use your best players in those situations at the goal line. That being said, I'm not necessarily 100% that game, that situation. I felt like the Chargers saw an opportunity to make a statement, in that division, in that game, and moving forward. And it just didn't work. They couldn't convert those 4th downs, and
a ton of them. It was awful.
It was 4, right? 4
yeah, it was 4, and it's just awful. I don't even think it was had to do anything with the player on the field. It's just you not executing up front.
Yeah.
You should be able to walk those in.
But look, that's going to be an interesting matchup for years to come, and I think that the NFL is excited about Herbert and Mahomes in the same division.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next game on the slate. This game has gone crazy with the spread in the last few hours. It is the Carolina Panthers, who are 5-8. They are headed to Buffalo, who is 7-6. The Buffalo Bills are a 14.5-point favorite. The over-under in this game is 44. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell the people what you got.
All right, so real quickly in the passing game, I like Gabriel Davis for the Buffalo Bills, outside of the obvious things with Stephon Diggs. He's coming off a season high of 8 targets. Has gotten 10 or more fantasy points in 2 straight games. So I like Gabriel Davis. This kind of reminds me of last season entering the playoffs. He got kind of hot there. But let's talk about the other situation on the other side with the Panthers, man. Cam Newton, the whole welcome back Mace campaign vibes was feeling real good the first 2 weeks. And now Cam has kind of fell back down to earth or even beneath the surface. Shout out to my man Jizza one time. With his struggles here, man. 0 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions in his last 2 games. But this is the thing. Cam is very hard to judge because of what he does in the running attack as well. He's got a rushing touchdown in every game that he's been back in. That's 4 straight games with a rushing touchdown. It's interesting because we expect them to run RPO, but as far as the passing numbers go, Cam Newton has definitely been struggling. And dating back to all the way to 2018 with Cam Newton with the Carolina Panthers, he's on a 12-game losing streak as their starting quarterback. He's got to find a way to get up off that. If you're a Panthers fan, you would hope that he's going to get some Jacksonville Jaguars vibes here, and maybe the Buffalo Bills come out and shoot themselves in the foot and get the Carolina Panthers a chance, but it's really not looking like that. Josh Allen's coming off a 308-yard game against the Bucs where he had 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. It's been I wouldn't call it a down year, but it's not the numbers that people expected from Josh Allen this year with the 3,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. But the one thing that stands out to me is he's kept that completion percentage high. Outside of his first 2 seasons in the league, where second year he was at 58%. Now he's been over 60% for 2 years. Last year really increased the number. And Stephon Diggs, he hasn't been the big play fantasy guy that a lot of people expected coming from last season, but he's definitely been consistent on the year. He's coming off of 7 receptions for 74 yards last week against the Bucs, and now has at least 7 receptions and a touchdown in 6 of the past 8 games. So I think he's a guy you got to keep in your lineup. Playoff time, do not rely on the Buffalo Bills running attack. They've been struggling, and honestly, I don't know why they've been trying to experiment more with Zach Moss as a guy getting split carries, I would say, with Devin Singletary. Zach Moss is averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Singletary's been averaging 4.9. So if you desperately strapped and you got to go with a running back from the Bills, I'm going Devin Singletary. As far as the game, I got to take the Bills. And I got to take the Bills to cover. I always feel like Vegas might know something that we don't know. I'm going to take the Bills to cover the 14.5, although it won't surprise me if the Panthers are in this game because we know Josh Allen, the number 1 quarterback he was compared to, coming into the draft and after his first season was Cam Newton. So this should be a matchup of pride for Cam Newton. It wouldn't surprise me if they keep it close, but as far as the pick, I'm going to go Bills, and I'm going to go Bills to cover, and I'm going to take the over.
I absolutely love the Gabriel Davis name drop. Gabriel Davis was a guy we both have talked about, many of times in the past, 2 seasons since he
wasn't on my radar till you talked about him last year. I was like,
yeah. And Emmanuel Sanders is out, and I think that's had a huge reason with this sort of recent boost in Gabriel Davis production. But absolutely love Gabriel Davis today, especially in DraftKings and FanDuel. Authentic hit it with that one. Definitely love Gabriel Davis. Now, look, Josh Allen coming off of this foot injury. We're going to have to monitor that situation and see how he's maneuvering. It might completely change his game plan or Buffalo's game plan as a total.
Tony Pollard is active today.
But not 100% though. Not 100%, they say. So that might be one of those. Darrell Henderson was active a couple of weeks ago, and then Sony Michel got 100% of the touches. Mm-hmm. It could be one of those situations, but we'll see. They're going to need him. And listen, this is 2 good defenses. Carolina was really good defense early in the year, and then you kind of forgot about them. So Buffalo has a number 1 defense. Carolina has a number 2 overall defense in the National Football League right now. The big difference, though, is
that's smoke.
Buffalo's.
That's smoke right there with the Panthers.
I feel you.
Smoke.
Buffalo's offense, though, is 8th, and Carolina's offense is 27th. Carolina's going to have to find a way to score some points. Chuba Hubbard, they got to get him going. He scored a touchdown last week. It's going to be interesting. They just can't turn the ball over. As long when Cam doesn't turn the ball over, he's good. It's just those turnovers have been killing him.
But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Taylor Heineke, right? And I'm starting to have a theory about quarterbacks in the NFL now. There's quarterbacks that need a running game, and there's quarterbacks that don't. Cam Newton is in that realm of quarterbacks that need the running game.
I think that's an interesting topic for discussion that we need to definitely have, because I 100% agree with that.
Yeah,
and
Josh
that's
Allen,
why,
not so much.
Yeah. But he relies on himself sometimes, though, to be the run game.
That's why he don't need no running game. Right.
I'll tell you one crazy stat, though. The Carolina Panthers are the only team in the National Football League who have not allowed a touchdown to their opponents on their first drive of the game.
That's what's up.
Buffalo is 5-0 when scoring a touchdown on their first drive. So the first drive of this game might tell you a lot. But look, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I can't take the Buffalo Bills minus 14.5 until I see a game with Josh Allen and seeing how that foot is. But I will take the Bills to win. I will take the over 44 in this game as well. All right, next game on the docket's going to be my Washington football team, who is 6-7. They're headed to Philly, who is also 6-7. The Eagles are 6.5-point favorites. The over/under is 42. This game has been moved to Tuesday night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay tuned for Tuesday. It's going to be an interesting day. Look, I don't know who's playing quarterback. We're slowly getting some of these players back off the COVID list. We got Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and the law firm are all off of the COVID. And then you said Cam Sims came back today. But still, no Kyle Allen, no Taylor Heineke. I think if one of the two of them were to come back first, I think it would be Kyle Allen, because he got put on the list before Heineke. Heineke was one of the last players that got put on the list. So it's good. This game is just going to be super tough. And McLaurin practiced in full yesterday, which is always a good sign, because he's the guy. He's the best player on our team, basically. And Antonio Gibson is going to have to be Antonio Gibson type of game. Jalen Hertz looks like he's going to play now 100% now that they've moved this game. It's going to be tough. I love Washington. I probably am picking this game with my heart, okay? I think if Kyle Allen or Taylor Heineke plays, Washington has a chance to win this game. They'll definitely cover the 6.5 points. If neither one of those guys play, it would be a miracle, like instant. You remember they used to do the ESPN Classics? It'd be an instant ESPN Classic 30 for 30 story if God knows who came in. Gilbert Grape.
Who would play quarterback?
It's either Kyle Shurmur, Gilbert Grape,
Kyle Shurmur's Pat Shurmur's son.
I wanted
remember
to look
they was talking
up.
About his son during the draft. I didn't know he ended up watching it, so I'm not 100%.
Well, they recently signed him to
that might be his son.
Squad. Yeah, so
and
Kyle
Shurmur
y'all
signed Gilbert Grape.
Gilbert Grape and Jordan Tiamahu is another guy that we signed as well. So I mean, listen, guys, I don't know what else to tell you. Hail to the W. I'm gonna take Washington. I'm gonna take it with my heart. I'm going to take them to cover the 6.5, and I'm going to take the under 42 because I picked 17-15 in this game. I'm sticking to it. We'll see if I change my mind by Tuesday, though.
Yeah, 17-15 was wild. I'm going to pick this one as if Taylor Heineke's going to be their quarterback, because with them moving the game, they got to know something that the quarterback situation is going to be handled by the time we get to the kickoff on Tuesday. it's just going to be a very interesting game. You're going to need Antonio Gibson, but Antonio Gibson struggled against the Philadelphia Eagles last season, and y'all swept them last season, I believe. I can't remember if I'm right on that.
Yep.
But he averaged under 4 yards per carry. He had 125 yards combined in both games, 0 touchdowns in both games. And on the flip side of that, Washington is 5th against the run. I do think this will come down to the run. The Philadelphia Eagles are number 1 in the NFL as far as rushing goes. And Miles Sanders coming off that big game in Week 13. If he can manage to be out there and be half the guy he was, I think the Philadelphia Eagles can win this game. Something in my gut makes me want to pick Washington, though, because I'm not a believer of the Eagles, man. When the Eagles fall flat, it doesn't surprise me. With Gardner Minshew being at quarterback, I think that could kind of change it up a little bit and give Washington possibly a better chance. Y'all defense has been playing pretty well.
The two teams are so similar. Like you said it. Like, you don't think either one of these teams are a real playoff team.
I don't.
And listen, as much as I love Washington and we like the progression Philly has made, you can't really argue against that statement. I mean, there's a lot of validity to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the NFC is just garbage this year. Atlanta Falcons are still there in the mix. The Giants aren't mathematically eliminated, which is ridiculous.
You're still in the hunt, man. You're on the graphic.
And the Bears aren't mathematically eliminated. I think today some things could go their way or not their way, and they will be eliminated. I don't want to take too much time on it. I'm going to take Washington, man. I'm taking Washington right out. And I'm going to take the over. I just think the Eagles rely on the run. Washington knows what they got to stop. You got to stop the RPO, and you got to stop the read option. Stop it. That's really it. I think y'all have a better chance in the passing game, and I think it'll put up more points on the board. I see Washington putting up like maybe 20, 24, or 27 in a victory here. That's the only upset I'm picking this week. Straight up.
Well, I love it. I love to see it, man. Big shout out to one of our resident Washington football team fans, Kevin, the PRF, for the $5 super chat. Says Eagles have turned their season around running the ball, which Washington is good at stopping. I mean, that's what you got to hope for. The only thing is that Washington is better at stopping the run when it's a running back, not so much against the quarterback. So they're going to have to play contained defense on the edges. That's going to have to deal with a lot of discipline, not over pursuing. But I like where your head's at, Kevin. I like where your head's at, Authentic. Hail to the W. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next game on the docket is going to be the 2-11 Houston Texans at the 2-11 Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are 5.5-point favorites. The over/under is 40 points. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't think I've ever seen a roster of players more publicly excited about the firing of their head coach than I have in Jacksonville. This has been one of the weirdest situations. And listen, I was completely wrong. I thought Urban Meyer was going to come in and things were going to be great. I thought the roster was a good roster for him. I thought the Jaguars would actually have a winning record this year. And boy, I couldn't be more wrong. Listen, with Urban Meyer gone, James Robinson will finally be freed 100%. I'm looking for him.
James Robinson.
Yeah. Free James Robinson. Free Laviska Shenault. I'm expecting James Robinson to have a monster game today. Listen, you got 2 rookie quarterbacks in this game. My boy Davis Mills going against Trevor Lawrence. Now, Davis Mills, career high last week, 331 passing yards. Started out the game with 14 straight completions. The most completions in a row by any Houston Texans quarterback in the history of the Houston Texans quarterbacks.
And that ain't saying that much.
Look, Brandon Cooks, too, in this game, somebody to keep your eye on. He plays typically well against Jacksonville. 27 catches, 599 yards, and 3 touchdowns in his career games against Jacksonville. I love Nico Collins, wide receiver, young guy, Michigan. You guys have heard me talk about him multiple times before on this show. I think he's going to have a big game. I think there's a little bit of chemistry brewing between him and Davis Mills. And also, Brevin Jordan, you guys have heard me talk about him, and every time I do, he scores a touchdown. He has scored a touchdown in 2 of his last 3 games, so definitely somebody to keep your eye out on, the young tight end out of the U. I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. But I am going to take the Texans to cover the 5.5 points, and I'm going to take the over 40 on this.
I'm going to make you change your mind on that over here in a second.
Oh, here we go.
The best thing about this game is the graphic on the screen from the graphics department. Shout out to the graphics department one time, because both these teams are awful. I have one note for this game. Okay, so 2 quarterbacks in this game, 2 rookie quarterbacks. One of them is 65.8 completion percentage on the year. The other one is 58. You wouldn't think it, but that's Trevor Lawrence. One of them has 14 interceptions on the year. One of them has 8. You wouldn't think it. The 14 interceptions is Trevor Lawrence. One of them has a pass rating of 68.9. The other has a pass rating of 81.1. The 81.1 is Davis Mills. It's kind of crazy that Davis Mills is playing better football than Trevor Lawrence. Very, very surprising. So when you're thinking about people to start in this game, think about none of them. Don't start no one from either one of these teams. And as far as the over-under, the Jaguars have gone under in 11 of their 13 games. I don't care if it's only 40. I'm taking the under, and I'm going with the Texans in this game. I'm going to go with the better quarterback so far. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, that might be one of the best Texans-Jaguars segments all year. Shout out to Awthentik.
And shout out to the graphics department, more importantly. You know what it is, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the next game. It's going to be BB Jones, Dallas Cowboys, who are 9-4, heading to Awthentik and Giant Nation, the New York Football Giants, who are 4-9. The over-under in this game is 44.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell the people what you got.
All right, Giants Nation. We're probably not going to win this game. I'm going to keep it real with you. We're probably not going to win this game. Micah Parsons is out here looking like Terminator 2, the liquid version, chasing quarterbacks. Definitely going to be a problem for my man Mike Glennon today. Micah Parsons has 9 sacks in his past 6 games. Y'all know he's sitting at 12. Should be a fun day against Nate Solder and the rest of the bunch on the offensive line. And we talked about Dak Prescott on Thursday's show. He's got 8 straight wins against the New York Giants. He's only lost twice to the New York Giants in his whole career. They both happened in his rookie season. They only lost 3 games that year, and 2 of them were to the New York Giants. He's got 20 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions in those 10 games versus the New York Giants. I like Sterling Shepard a little bit in this game. At home, Sterling Shepard has done some damage. He's got at least 7 catches and 75 yards in 3 of his last 4 games at MetLife. So if you strapped at the wide receiver position, maybe Sterling Shepard today could be a viable option, but he is coming off only 2 catches for 27 yards in his return after missing 4 games. Saquon Barkley is super boom or bust today. We talked about this early on. Somebody had a question about Saquon, DK, or Van Jefferson, and we went with Van Jefferson. Now, Saquon has 4 healthy games against the Cowboys, and I talked about this: 2 good games, 2 bad games. In the 2 good games, he's got a total of 28 carries for 229 yards. In the 2 bad games, he's got 25 carries for 56 yards, man. 2.2 yards per carry in the bad games, 8.2 yards per carry in the good games. I like Saquon Barkley as a start today, but make sure he's not your only option if you are starting him. I would put somebody like Fournette, for instance, in over a guy like Saquon Barkley, even though Fournette's looking like he's kind of banged up entering that Monday night matchup, I believe that is. But Saquon Barkley, big-time boom or bust, man. The Giants can't win this game. The Giants are not a playoff team. Giants, actually, to me, the record looks better than the team actually is this year. I don't know how that happened. I just don't know how that happened. 4-9. I'm going to take the over simply off the fact that the Dallas Cowboys offense, this should be a get-right game. This should really be a get-right game. So I'll take the over. I'll take the Dallas Cowboys. 11.5, though. I think they're going to cover it. Forget it. I'm going with it. They're going to cover. Cowboys cover. Giants lose by about a good 17 in this game. This should look a lot like last week. What was it, 37-21 last week? I believe it should look a lot like that.
This game's going to be decided in the trenches. If the New York Giants
that don't give us a chance.
If the New York Football Giants can find a way to run the ball successfully and stop the run to a certain extent. I mean, listen, the last time these two teams played, Dallas ran the ball for over 200 yards. Dallas has two banged up running backs. There's no question about it. Pollard and Zeke, neither one of them are 100%. You should be able to stop the run.
Revenge game.
Yeah.
The third running back. New York Giants decided to not keep him on the roster. Said, we don't need you. We got Saquon Barkley. That's who you need to look out for today. Your boy Corey Clement. That's who you need to look out for today.
Well, listen, you heard it here first. Corey Clement goes over 100 yards today.
Unless Tony Pollard is not smoking mirrors and he really out here running that ball, Corey Clement gonna be a Giants killer today, quite possibly.
Look, I think this game's gonna be closer than Awthentik does. It's not gonna be a 17-15 game, but I am going to take the.
Please,
I'm
going to
take
feelings over there.
No, the feelings. I'm on Novocaine or something because I ain't got no feeling.
You got a good Pitbull verse ready over there.
I think. Listen, there is a chance. There's a chance that the New York Football Giants could shock the world. Okay, they got to play Denver Bronco, Dora the Explorer, roadmap football. That's the only way. But listen,
defense
the Cowboys
have to show up if they want a chance. Mike Glennon might be able to do. He did have 3 touchdowns last week. I know 2 of them were in garbage time, but I mean, they had 3 touchdowns.
Listen, just don't tell him to get rid. Listen, I'm sure they showed him like a highlight tape, but just like them NFL film sounds. You know what? Micah Parsons flashing across the screen, and then Gregory flashing. Listen, Glennon, Mike, just get rid of the ball quick, buddy.
Glennon,
do not.
That's what's going on through Mike Glennon's head when he's getting the pass rush. Glennon, Mike, get rid of the ball. That's what's going through his mind.
Listen, I think the Giants find a way to cover that 11.5 points. Dallas will probably win. I'm going to take the under 44.5. So Jalen Smith, you guys signed him to the practice squad. He's active today, huh?
Struggling at that linebacker position, so he should see himself, make his way on.
Revenge game.
Another revenge game. You're making me want to pick my New York Giants right now. But I think they gonna have a better revenge game with Corey Clement coming off that bench one time.
Big shout out to Firefighter1526. Thank you again for joining us on Twitch. We appreciate the love. Says, what up, guys? Need to start 2 out of Jamar Chase, Mike Evans, Hunter Renfrow, Terry McLaurin, full PPR. Give me Hunter Renfrow and Mike Evans.
I definitely like Hunter Renfrow. I wanted to go check Mike Evans' last couple of weeks. He was definitely pushing 100 yards in both games. One against the Falcons, one against the Bills. Seen good volume in his last 4 games. He's got at least 6 catches in 3 of the last 4. Jamar Chase, though, dog. I'm going Chase and Renfrow. Chase that Renfrow. Renfrow that Chase.
Shout out to Josh Warren checking in. Says, Tua Tagovailoa or Russell Wilson, 6 points for a touchdown. Look, Russell Wilson's probably the better quarterback, right? But Tua Tagovailoa going against the Jets, Russell Wilson going against the Rams. I'm going to take Tua. Tua.
I think I'm going to take Tua as well. Because it's the Jets. That's why. If you can't get a touchdown or 2 against the Jets, I mean, I don't know, bro. I'd go Tua just off the strength. And if he fails, he fails. I'd never put him in a starting lineup ever again.
Hey, big shout out to Jeff in the chat, man. I see you being super active. We appreciate it for sure. Kevin says, when Beard said decided in the trenches, my mind immediately went to Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Glennon.
Yeah, straight up.
That's what it's going to be like.
But watch, Mike Glennon, you never know. That's the thing about a wild card like that at quarterback. You never know. Like, if he can go out there and clean it up, which he almost did last week until, like, the last drive where he threw that interception, you never know. You might have a chance if the New York Giants defense can show up. But the way that defense played against them Chargers, boy, they look terrible. You allowing touchdowns at the half with just a couple seconds left. You just playing terrible defense. Can't stop the run. Can't stop the pass. when the Giants are playing like that, the offense really has no hope. But in those games, where defense stands up a little bit, they got a little bit of a hope.
They got a chance. They got a chance. That's all you want to ask for is a chance, ladies and gentlemen. And you want to know who feels that way? That's going to be our next game. The Detroit Lions are home. They are.
I hated that segue.
The Arizona Cardinals are 10-3. They are 13-point favorites. They're headed to Detroit. The Detroit Lions are 1-11-1. I mean, that sounds like an R&B group name. The over-under is 48.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Arizona Cardinals do not have Hopkins. He is most likely out for the season unless they make the Super Bowl. He might come back and play in the Super Bowl. It was announced today that he did have a torn MCL. AJ Green is going to have to step up, and he played really good last week. And I think it's just going to come down to AJ Green, Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk. Which one of them is going to make that step up and take it? I love Kirk. And you saw in the lineups I sent you for DraftKings. I got a couple of Kirk lineups going. I do like AJ Green, though, too. Listen, James Conner, Chase Edmonds, it's going to be interesting to see how that balances back out with Edmonds coming back. And like I mentioned earlier in the show, Conner having a little bit of an ankle injury. Arizona's defense doesn't get talked about enough. I try to tell people week in and week out, they got a really good defense. It's fifth in the league. It's not the best. It's not, shutting people down into 0 points, but they make big plays when they need to make big plays, and I love that about their defense. Now, the Detroit Lions, they don't have DeAndre Swift. They don't have TJ Hawkinson. They are hurting. They don't have Jamal Williams. They got 3 guys playing running back that I've never even heard of before. The one guy I did like, Jamar Jefferson, didn't even get 1 touch last week, so I don't even know what to tell you. The only thing I can tell you about the Detroit Lions is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Y'all heard me talk about this kid a couple of times. Young wide receiver out of USC. He's the future there, undoubtedly, because they don't have anybody else. In his last 2 games, he's got 18 catches, 159 yards, and a touchdown. So he is the glimmer of hope for the Detroit Lions. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals to cover the 13 points. I'm going to take the over 48.5. Authentic, tell the people what you got.
Cardinals right now can clinch a playoff berth with a win or losses from Minnesota and the Saints. I think they're going to clinch today with a W against the Lions. You talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, 24 targets over the past 2 weeks. They're definitely getting him the volume necessary. Definitely like him. James Conner, 7 straight games with a touchdown, tied for the longest streak in franchise history. The Cardinals have not lost on the road this year. I don't foresee it happening to the Detroit Lions. So give me the Cardinals. I think they cover, but give me the under in this one.
Man, Cardinal Rule said the Cardinals have won every road game this season by at least 10 points.
Oh, see, he took my nugget and made it into a chicken tender. I knew they hadn't lost on the road, but have won by at least 10 points this season. Shout out to Cardinal Rule one time with the 3-piece tender one time. Barbecue sauce, napkins, spork. My man.
Authentic is on a roll today, ladies and gentlemen. Next game on the docket.
We got to fly. We got, 7 games to get through?
We're going is the New York Jets. They're 3-10 at the Miami Dolphins, who are 6-7. The Dolphins are 10-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 42 points. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
All right, I talked about Devonta Parker. He caught all 5 of his targets last week. You talked about the injuries in this game and the players not active, so it should yield well for Devonta Parker. The Dolphins have won 5 straight games without really any running game. They're averaging 2.8 yards per carry since week 9, and they've won 5 straight games. Got to put a lot of that on the quarterback. Tua has had a 70% completion percentage in 3 straight games. He's coming off the second best month in accuracy from any quarterback in NFL history. I talked about that last parlay. It's second to Peyton Manning's 2008 December. What else we got here? Only 3 teams in NFL history have gotten back to 500 after being 6+ games below 500. The 74 Jets, the 84 Packers, the 2009 Titans, and it's looking like now the Miami Dolphins. They're going against the Jets. So give me the Dolphins. Over under wise, I say we'll get there. They're favored by 10. Come on. Jets gonna cover that.
Listen, no Waddle. I love Gaskin in this game. Myles Gaskin is going to have a game. You guys know I don't use the word much, but I don't even remember what the word was. It was either stink or sucks when I was talking about the Jets' run defense last week, and Awthentik said, I've heard you use that word all season. And look what Alvin Kamara did. Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill ran for over 200 yards against that Jets defense.
2.8 yards per carry. Don't forget it. Since week 9. This is going to be a good moment here when this game is all said and done.
Myles Gaskin's big game. Listen, if you're looking for a Jets guy, Michael Carter's coming back off the IR. We talked about Michael Carter a ton about how, he was just now getting into his groove before he went down with the injury. The last game he played in and got injured in was actually against the Miami Dolphins. And at that point when he went down, he had 9 carries for 63 yards. He was having a very, stretch of that versatility showing between catching and running the ball. His best game a couple weeks before that game when he got injured against the Cincinnati Bengals, he had 9 catches for 95 yards, 15 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown. He's going to need a game like that because that's where they have no other offense. And Zach Wilson, who had a good game, took a step back last week, and it definitely showed. I think he was like 19 for 44 or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, I'm going to take the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Jets to cover, and I'm going to take the over 42 points. Also, Miami's defense scores a touchdown today. I'm going to throw that out there for everybody. Miami's defense will score a touchdown.
I just saw a report from Ian Rappaport here. He said, Urban Meyer reflects on high point of Jaguars' tenure. He said, quote, "We won that sucker in London. It was like we won the Super Bowl for those guys." That's a jab. That's a low blow right there to the team. I don't know how I'm feeling about that.
Yo, that is one of the weirdest things ever. There's gonna more and more stories are gonna start coming out about that every day. But you know what? Just put it behind us. Let's let him go back to college. It didn't work out. Move on, Jacksonville. All right, next game on the docket. We're getting to some winners now. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 7-6. They're headed to Denver, who's also 7-6. The Denver Broncos are a 3-point favorite. The over-under in this game is 4 points. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This game features a lot of good running backs. Melvin Gordon, who is playing today. Devontae Williams is one of the best rookie running backs in the league. And then, obviously, Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is absolutely killing it. He's got a touchdown in 9 of his last 10 games. Logan Wilson for the Cincinnati Bengals, linebacker, is going to be out. He has been one of my favorite players, young players, second-year guy defensively. Linebacker didn't play a lot last year because of injury. Noah Fant. It's going to open the door up for Noah Fant. I think he's going to have a good game today. He leads the Denver Broncos with 53 catches on the year and second on the team with 3 touchdowns. T. Higgins has 3 100-yard games in a row. Definitely keep your eye out on T. Higgins. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals to cover. I'm going to take them to win, and I'm going to take the over 44 points.
I'm right in line with you on this game. Taking the over, taking the Bengals. I like the players you mentioned. You talked about T. Higgins, the 3 straight games of 100 yards. Melvin Gordon has scored 6 touchdowns in his past 5 games, and he's coming off his best game of the year against the Lions, where he had 111 yards rushing. Teddy Bridgewater, he needs 46 yards for a 3,000 season. It'd be the first time in his career he threw back-to-back 3,000-yard seasons, so I'm looking forward to seeing him get that. I think Teddy Bridgewater might be elevating himself out of that game manager role at the quarterback position, and I think maybe the Broncos should probably bring him back next season. But Joe Mixon as well has been balling out too. He's got in 5 of the Bengals' 7 wins this season, Mixon has rushed for at least 90 yards. So if he can get going, Bengals will win this game. I think the Bengals are a better team and a team that I would rather see in the playoffs than the Broncos.
Interesting. Next game on the docket, ladies and gentlemen, is shout out to the graphics department. That 49ers
I hate the 49ers
hits.
Colors, man.
But
Trash.
The 49ers, the font on that one hits a little different.
Yeah, because
it looks like,
I got an email from the graphics department. And They told me that the 49ers, the 4 and the 9 are not in the font set that they use. So they're the only team with a number in their name. and it just wasn't looking right. So they flip-flopped it, and they went with the
But
OG
it looks
49ers
like the actual 49ers. Like,
kind of does.
Good job, graphics department. The Atlanta Falcons are 6-7. They're headed to San Francisco, who's 7-6. The 49ers are 8.5-point favorites. The over/under in this game is 47.5. Kickoff is at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. George Kittle, last 2 games, 22 catches, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. I love Jimmy G on a daily on DraftKings this week. I think he's super cheap. I love this sort of George Kittle, Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel and Cordero Patterson are kind of like very similar, where they're both running the ball now, catching the ball. Like, they're doing everything. There's going to be a ton of interesting play designs, I feel like, in this game. Russell Gage is finally starting to come along in the absence of Calvin Ridley and what's my other guy's name? I just lost his name. Oh, without Julio Jones leaving and now Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage is the guy there currently in Atlanta. And he has, the last 3 weeks, 21 catches and 256 yards. I love the San Francisco 49ers in this game. But I think the Falcons cover that 8.5 points. And I'm going to take the over 47.5 as well.
Kyle Pitts, man. I don't know about the dude. Still kind of in that average zone. I don't know about the dude. And George Kittle, you said I don't know what else to say about the guy. I give you a little nugget that no one talks about with George Kittle. Last season, Evan Ingram led the league in drops. Guess who was tied with him? Your boy, George Kittle. No one ever talks about him dropping the ball. Atlanta is 0-4 against the spread against teams with winning records this year. Give me the 49ers. This is going to be Cordero versus Deebo all day long. Matt Ryan averages over 300 passing yards per game against the 49ers for his career. I think it'll be a close game, so give me the Falcons to cover, but I'll get the 49ers to win, and I'm going to take the over in this one.
Yep, we're right along the same lines in that game. Big shout out to the homie Sonny from Las Vegas. Appreciate you stopping by, brother. Hope all is well.
What up,
all
Sonny?
right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go back to the NFC West. The next matchup on the docket is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, who are 5-8 and fighting for their lives. Headed to Los Angeles to face the Rams. The Rams are 9-4. They are 6-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 45.5. Kickoff has been moved to Tuesday at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell the people what you got.
I got some Odell Beckham. They're saying he's going to be active for this game.
He's
Can
good.
he go 4 straight games with a touchdown?
Yes.
That is going to be what it's all about. Matthew Stafford has been playing excellent football the past couple of weeks. He's got 33 touchdown passes on the season. That's tied with Vinny Testaverde and Brett Favre for the 3rd most by a player in his first season with the new team. Russell Wilson, has definitely been struggling since coming back from the injury. But in his past 3 meetings with the Rams, Wilson is averaging under 210 yards with more interceptions than touchdowns. He's got 3 interceptions to his 2 touchdowns versus the Rams, averaging only 14.9 fantasy points against the Rams. So I'm not really feeling Russell Wilson or DK Metcalf in this matchup. The Rams will clinch a playoff spot with a win and losses from the Falcons, Saints, and Vikings. So looking forward to see that. I'm kind of slowly turning into a bit of a Rams fan here, man. Just been rooting for my man Odell Beckham. Newly acquired by the Rams. He's been playing really good football since being over there. He's got the 3 straight weeks with 3 touchdowns, and I'm looking to see Odell Beckham make that 4, man. He's the kind of player that deserves some get back for all these Giants fans that be on his back, saying that he's not going to ever be a solid wide receiver in the NFL anymore. So I'm definitely going to have my eyes on Odell Beckham in this game, and my man Van Jefferson. Give me the Rams in this one, and I think they'll cover it, and I'll take the over.
You know who else is going for their 4th straight game with a touchdown in this game?
Let's go with Van Jefferson.
Ding, 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 ding. I don't have my sound. There it is. Yes, sir. I think, look, book it. Van Jefferson and Odell Beckham both scored touchdowns for the 4th straight game in a row. If Seattle wants to have a chance, they're going to have to find a way to run the ball. Russell Wilson is kind of might be one of those quarterbacks that we were talking about because he was struggling when he came back. And obviously a lot of that had to do with the injury. But when they finally got a good game running, the rest of that offense started to click, although it was against the Houston Texans, I believe. Last week, Rashad Penny ran the ball all over the place. He had 137 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. Aaron Donald versus Russell Wilson, 15 games. 14 sacks. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams in this game. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams to cover the 6 points, and I'm going to take the over 45.5. Hey, big shout out to Los. What's going on, brother? Great to see you, man. Hope all is well.
The Cardinal rules said I might want to reconsider my Pitt slander. It's not necessarily slander. It just feels very average. It just feels overhyped, a little inflated.
I think that's what it was. I think it's just the expectations and the hype that he came into the league.
And can it get better going into next season is going to be the real question here. You know, when I was looking at the Evan Ingram statistics, he's one of 6 tight ends to catch for 40 passes in his first 5 seasons, which the number right there is just surprising that tight ends don't do better than that consistently for 5 seasons. With Kyle Pitts, man, you just get a lot of just 4 and 5 catches, 40, 50 yards, things like that. And as far as the yards go, he started off the season so hot. He had that 163-yard game against the Dolphins, and he had a 119-yard game against the Jets. I think it's just a little inflated. When you look at the slump, is what I've been talking about. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games under 65 yards, 2 of those games over 60. So for me, it's been pretty average. He's getting in the end zone a little bit. When he was higher in yards, he wasn't getting in the end zone. And now you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight games Kyle Pitts has not gotten into the end zone. So it's not necessarily slander. It's just, when you going to get out the slump, bro? I mean, they were hyping him. They was hyping him. You know, this guy's supposed to come in with immediate results. And for me, he doesn't seem to be a guy that defenses are having to really game plan against when they're playing against the Falcons. Cordell Patterson seems to be more the guy that you game plan against rather than a guy like Kyle Pitts who should be that.
Interesting takes. I mean, I was high on Kyle Pitts. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. I think I was looking at him to put up more receiver-like numbers than tight end-like numbers. So we'll see how that transitions next year with whatever the Falcons decide to do with that team.
But the yards were surprising. When I saw his yards, I mean, because I was looking at Evan Ingram's stats to see where he kind of lied. And for one, Kyle Pitts gets way more targets than all the other tight ends pretty much. His target volume is so high. But the 54 catches for 770 yards, the 770 did surprise me. 14 yards a catch, but I just think it's a little bit inflated from what happened early on in the season there. And now it's just regular games. I mean, he could be at any middle of the road tight end, I feel like, the past 8 weeks.
No lie there. All right, next game on the docket was going to be an absolute star-studded fest game, but now with no Lamar Jackson, the Green Bay Packers, who are 10-3, they are 7-point favorites. They are headed to Baltimore to face the Ravens, who are 8-5. The over/under is 44.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No Lamar Jackson, but do not be afraid to play Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews and Huntley had a little connection going last week. Mark Andrews had 11 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown. So I'm definitely going to grab a few shares of Mark Andrews. I know he is our starting tight end for the Awthentik and The Beard official fantasy football team in the playoffs, round 1. Shout out to the team. And Baltimore does have the number 1 run defense in the National Football League, which is going to be interesting to see how Green Bay handles that, because they do have 2 very good running backs in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. But I mean, if they don't have to run the ball, it's okay, because they have a guy by the name of Davante Adams, whose last 3 games have been insane. He's got 25 catches, 340 yards, and 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. That is Davante Adams, ladies and gentlemen. Another name, if you're looking for somebody low-key to play in this game, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I like him to have a big game for the Green Bay Packers. I am going to take the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers minus the 7, and I'm going to take the over 44.5.
I like it. Devontae Adams definitely balling out, man. 3 straight 100-yard games. Aaron Rodgers, 10 touchdowns and no interceptions over his past 3 games. He needs 4 touchdown passes to surpass Brett Favre for first place on the Packers' all-time list. So maybe he could get that done today. We'll see. That Ravens defense definitely good against the run, but we'll see what they could do against the pass. And the Packers can also clinch the NFC North with a win, a tie, or a loss from the Minnesota Vikings. That looks like that all should be able to go down in this game. I got to take the Packers without no Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. Aaron Jones. Week 8 was the last time running back Aaron Jones got more than 12 touches in a game, while A.J. Dillon has had at least 15 in each of his past 4 games. Leaning more Dillon here over Aaron Jones in the rushing attack for the Green Bay Packers. Give me the Packers in this one. Ravens just signed my man Josh Johnson. I was happy about that. Good to see him get onto a roster that might play well to his skill set if he could actually get into the game. We'll see what happens here. But yeah, I'll go Packers. I'll go over the 44.5, and I think they'll cover that 8.5.
Get well, Lamar. We need you next week.
Oh, let's get this one real quick.
Jay wants to know, Gallup, Ayuk, James Robinson, pick 1 for the flex. I'm going with my man, Big James.
Yeah,
Robinson.
Same here. Good matchup against the Texans today. I'm definitely going James Robinson. I'd go Michael Gallup second if you're not feeling the James Robinson vibes.
There you go. Next game on the docket gonna be a Sunday night football. The New Orleans Saints are 6-7. They headed down to Tampa Bay, faced the Buccaneers, who are 10-3. They are 11.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 45.5. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alvin Kamara is back, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, he had 145 total yards and a touchdown. They ran the ball for over 200 yards. It's going to be a lot more difficult this week. This is not the New York Jets. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Godwin is just crazy, killing it. Back-to-back games, he's had at least 10 catches and 100-plus yards. His last game against New Orleans this season, he had 8 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Saints to... Ooh, do I want to take the Saints to cover? They always play Tom Brady well since he's been in Tampa Bay. I'm going to take the Saints to cover the 11.5, Tampa Bay to win, and I'm going to take the over 45.5. Shout out.
What you think about this one here? I like Devontae Williams.
I love Devontae Williams. I listen, Aaron Jones, I'm a big Aaron Jones guy, but that Baltimore Ravens defense, I think they're going to be passing the ball a lot more today than normal. Devontae Williams is just week in and week out. He gets the tough yards, gets the catches. He'll get a touchdown, probably 2. And it doesn't matter because him and Melvin Gordon have been doing it at this shared back consistency all year long. So I think I'm going to go Devontae Williams.
Yeah, same here on that one. Shout out Diggy one time in the building. He says Bucks by at least 18. I can't go with you on that one. The Saints have been Tom Brady and the Bucks kryptonite pretty much here, man. Tom Brady's 1-3 versus the Saints since joining the Bucks. This game does have big playoff implications on the line. If the Bucks win, they'll clinch the NFC South. So I think there's a little bit added, a little bit of prize there at the end of the road for the Bucks if they can win this game. Saints always play them tough. You talked about Kamara being back. Shout out to homie one time in the building, my man, Bobby.
For the $5 super chat says, "Hi, Awthentik and The Beard, my friends. You guys are awesome. It is great to see you, Bobby."
Good to see you in the building, Bobby. Hope all is well, man. And if we don't catch you by the holidays, man, have a happy holidays, man. We'll catch you during playoffs, I'm sure. Good to see you in the building, man. Alvin Kamara, this statistic is a real nice one here. Okay, he's going to have, if he can get 10 rushing yards, which he probably get, he'll have 4,000 rushing yards and 3,000 receiving yards within his first 5 seasons. There's only one other player to have ever done that. It's trivia time here at Awthentik and The Beard. Beard got that one wrong.
Really? Did I jump the gun?
Roger Craig. That was my man back in the day, too. Roger Craig, man, great back coming out of the backfield, catching passes, and also a really good runner in his days with the San Francisco 49ers. Chris Godwin, man, he's definitely been pretty much balling out here, but he's had a little bit of a slow streak here. He scored 28 fantasy points on the Saints in Week 8, though, in the Bucs loss. I'd look for him to get back on track here. Give me the Bucs in this game, but I think the Saints cover that 11.5. Dickie says 18. I can't go 18. I think the Saints going to cover.
Can't do it, won't do it. Shout out to James Jones. Says, last one. Connor, Cook, Gaskins, Patterson, Henderson, JR, or Sanders. I can only pick one. Pick three. Okay.
Pick three.
I'm going to go Cook, Gaskins, Patterson.
Really? I'm going to go James Conner. I'm telling you, that dude been running different. He's got to be up there. Cook, I got to put up there. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. So I'm going Cook, Conner, Miles Sanders.
You got a stable of running backs over there, bro.
Yeah, that's looking like my wide receiver core for real. You definitely got a stable over there, James.
Oh, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the last game on the docket was supposed to be the original last game of the week, but is now Monday Night Football. This is the late Monday Night Football game, the second game of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. It's going to be the Minnesota Vikings, who are 6-7. They are 6-point favorites. They're headed to Chicago to face the Bears, who are 4-9. The over/under in this game is 44.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dalvin Cook said, "Hold my beer. Give me the shoulder sling and give me the rock." He had 27 carries, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns in his return. The dude is a monster.
Was it 205 total?
No.
Scrimmage yards, right?
205 rushing yards.
My notes say differently.
Yeah, rushing yards. I actually went to go see, after I saw that, I said, let me go see how many receiving yards he had, because I'm like, man, he might have had like a 275 game. I think he only had 1 catch for 17 yards in that game. But he did have 205 rushing and 2 touchdowns. Minnesota's defensive line against Justin Fields. Justin Fields better look out. Minnesota has 41 sacks this season. And they don't do it with just one big sack guy. They spread those sacks all the way around.
Big time pauses. They spread those sacks all the way around. What about homie? Didn't they lose a defensive lineman for the year? Jamaican dude. What's my man's name? Danielle, isn't he out for the year?
I don't know.
I think he's out for the year. Yeah, they
Bears are hurting with a lot of players on COVID as well. Adam Thielen, that's another guy you kind of got to look out for. I don't know if he's going to be playing or not. KJ Osborne, we talked about him last week, and he ended up having a pretty good game. He scored a touchdown in his last 2 games, and obviously Justin Jefferson. As much as I want the Bears to win this game for Washington football team purposes, I think the Vikings are going to win this game. Just Kirk Cousins, don't go out in prime time, Kirk Cousins, please. We need you in fantasy football. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to take the Bears to cover the 6 points, and I'm going to take the over 44.5.
You taking the Bears to cover? I think if the game gets that close on prime time, there's no way Kirk Cousins comes away with a win. You remember the game against the Steelers on prime time? He damn near choked and lost that game. He's 1-9 through 10 games on Monday Night Football. He's got 0 games over 15 fantasy points versus the Bears since joining the Vikings. Is that enough for the Bears to get this win?
You said you were only going to take one upset.
I did, and I'm not changing my mind on that either. The Vikings are going to win this game. Justin Jefferson, man, he's second in the NFL in receiving yards right now with 1,288. And with 12 receiving yards against the Bears, he can become the first Vikings player with 1,300 receiving yards in consecutive seasons since
Randy Moss.
You're damn right it was Randy Moss. Give me the Vikings to win the game, but I don't think the Bears cover. I really don't. I'll take the over on this one, but if the Vikings win, the Vikings win. It's not going to be that close. I don't think the Bears can hang, especially with Justin Fields at quarterback, man. They've been struggling. Allen Robinson has been a letdown this whole season, and their running game has been up and down, so they don't have that to rely on like they did during the days of Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky might be one of those guys like Gardner Minshew, man. People might want to take a look at Mitchell Trubisky. He's just sitting over there at Buffalo with the damn clipboard in his hand. 29-21 as a starter in the NFL. Might deserve a shot. I'm just saying here. But give me the Vikings in this one. And the Giants need those L's. We got the Bears first-round pick.
I know Margie put it in the chat, but just want to remind anybody, just in case you have Zane Gonzalez in as your kicker for the Carolina Panthers, they had to carry him to the locker room, and he has now officially been ruled out for today's game. I don't know what that means. Maybe it means Cam 2-point conversions all day.
Yeah, so, I heard him say wide receivers are warming up with tees trying to practice kicks right now. So we'll see.
They need Awthentik and The Beard out there. Send a PJ.
I ain't kicking no field goals. I don't want that pressure. I don't want that pressure. Nope. Not one bit. Be blaming me after the game and then also be saying, you're not even a real football player. You're a kicker. Not having it, bro. Not having it, bro. Not having it. No way.
Hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, that's the last game on the docket. This has been one of, I enjoyed this one a lot today. Awthentik was on a roll today, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out to Awthentik.
That's what happens when I come in with less notes. I was up late. I was like, I need about a good 2 nuggets per game. Oh, don't forget about the lineup.
Oh, yes. Our DraftKings lineup for today. We are going with, man, this beat rocks. This is everybody's favorite
this
part
beat
with
from
Awthentik.
like 2011 or something.
I love this beat so much.
We've got Aaron Rodgers up here.
Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Everybody loves it when Awthentik goes down the lineup. I can't. There we go. Aaron Rodgers
backwards
at quarterback. We're going to Michael Carter. Big game today. And you heard us talk about him. James Robinson will be our other running back. What's that? Devontae Adams. James Robinson. Devontae Adams, who's been killing it, will be our stack with Aaron Rodgers. And Nico, is that what that says? Is that Nico Collins? Nico Collins is my sleeper guy.
Hasn't had a touchdown all year.
No? He's going to score a touchdown today. You heard it here first. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I told you guys he was going to be one of my sleeper picks, so I'm going with the double stack for Aaron Rodgers. And then Noah Fant, who leads the Denver Broncos with 53 receptions on the year. And the Cincinnati Bengals will be without Logan Wilson, so we're going to Noah Fant for some tight end points. And we still had enough money to throw in some Stephon Diggs. Hopefully, you can have a big game. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are our defense.
Oh, I didn't even see that at the end. I didn't even see that. Not a fan of that right there. Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Hey, you might want to take that lineup, see what other options you got out there.
I don't think there's any more money left for a better defense. So we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. I think last week we just missed the cash out. So I think we are now 1 for 3 in cashing on teams that we have created here on Sunday mornings for the Parlay. Big Pat's in the building. Shout out Big Pat. Good to see you, sir.
Check out Big Pat during the game. I'm sure he's going to be doing a live stream, too, if y'all want to pull up, check him out on the play-by-play vibes, man. Always a good time. I'll probably be in there, Pat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Monday will be the oh-so-popular and instant classic shows, The Giant Overreaction, with
should be a good one.
Awthentik. Hopefully, they will be discussing a New York Giants victory against the Dallas Cowboys. And then Tuesday, keep your eyes peeled because with all of the games being moved around, make sure you guys hit that notification bell so you guys know when we will be going live on Tuesday. Everybody, enjoy your Sunday of football. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. We appreciate it as always. Mr. Awthentik, tell the people what they need to hear.
Y'all know what it is, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Let's get them biceps in the chat before we get up out of here. Say a couple prayers for them New York Giants one time. Only God could get us out of this right now, not Joe Judge. We really need God on our side here. So pull out your Bible, say some prayers before this game. Kick off at 1 o'clock. Definitely going to need it. I don't know if it's going to mean anything. These are meaningless games running down the stretch here. But I will cross my fingers for a miracle against the Dallas Cowboys today. Keep raising that bar, especially you, New York Giants. You need to raise that damn bar. Y'all are a really bad team, okay? And keep living those dreams, y'all. We're going to see y'all on Monday for the Giant Overreaction. Y'all be good, man. Best of luck with your fantasy playoffs and best of luck with all your betting. Hope y'all get all the money y'all could possibly get. Christmas time coming around the corner. You need that bread for them gifts, man. Y'all know how this goes. The kids need them gifts, bro. Make them happy. Go buy them some gifts, man. Do your thing. We will see y'all on Monday. And don't forget Tuesday for the recaps of all the NFC East games with me and the best co-host in the country.
Peace.
I thought that bicep was a peace sign. We turned it into a peace sign. Y'all be good out there. Peace, y'all.